And on this day off, as the riders head from Brittany to the southwest of France, the manager of the PDM team, Manfred Krieke, says food poisoning is probably to blame for the dropout of his entire team. Tuesday, 4 of the team's riders, including PDM leader Eric Breukink, veteran Irishman Sean Kelly, and Mexican mountain climber Raúl Alcalá, were the last to drop out of the Tour de France because of a mysterious virus. Krieke says the team has complete results done on them, and one of the tests has been completed on one of the riders, Nico Verhoeven. It shows a, quote, bacterial infection, and there is a 90% chance, he says, that food poisoning is responsible. Now, that is not the opinion of everyone. There have been conflicting reports as to what could be ailing the PDM team, and the newspapers today are all wondering aloud about the possibility of testing positive for drugs. Anytime that has been mentioned so far, the riders have been very upset, saying that this is a trial by insinuation and that they should wait until the final official test results come out in the next several days before deciding whether or not the PDMs did in fact use some monkey business, which may have backfired on them. And here is the Tour doctor, Gérard Porte, and he says he's surprised that all the PDMs have a subfroliable syndrome. They all have a high temperature, all have muscle and joint ache without any other signs, no digestive, no pulmonary problems. So we're having a hard time with the diagnostic. PDM spokesperson and former cyclist Jonathan Boyer denies that Breukink, who you see here, and his ilk are dabbling in performance-enhancing drugs. But Boyer today told the French Daily L'Equipe that 2 of the team's leaders could be dropped from PDM. And on this day off, we remind you of the stage winners so far, and you see that there has already been 1 PDM in the 7th stage, Van Poppel, the Dutchman. And as at the end of every stage, you are tested for drugs, and he tested negative, as everyone else so far in this Tour de France. Look now at the overall yellow jersey, and Greg LeMond will be defending his jersey as he heads into the mountains. Greg LeMond will have to watch Abdou Japarov, the 27-year-old Soviet who was 145th last year, but so far is 2nd overall behind Greg LeMond. And we see some of the other classifications. The best climber, De Klerk, the Frenchman, and the Banesto team, the best team. We'll get back to that in just a couple of moments. And Abdou Japarov, who we mentioned ago as best sprinter, and the best young rider, Lely. Now, with the PDM team out of the running, Greg LeMond will have to watch out for some of the others. Here you see Abdou Japarov in 2nd place, and we will mention the PDMs a little bit further on. Gianni Bugno, who you see there in 5th place, a little bit disappointing for him, but he is a very good mountain climber. It'll be interesting to see what he does on Thursday and Friday. As we say, with the PDMs out of the running, Greg LeMond has to watch out for the Spanish Banesto team. Why? Well, there are 4 good reasons. First of all, the high mountain stage into Spain tomorrow will be sure to pump up the local team, as it were. Second, Miguel Indurain, who is for real. In Saturday's time trial, he finished 1st. He is 3rd overall. The 3rd reason is Jean-François Bernard, who is 4th. The 28-year-old Bernard is having a second life. He'd been billed as Bernard Hinault's heir apparent, but was finished disappointingly in previous Tour de France's. This year, he's very strong and also a strong climber. And don't forget, team leader Pedro Delgado, the 1988 winner of the Tour de France, always a threat in the mountains. He is 8th overall. It'll be interesting to see whether he will be running for Indurain or vice versa in this coming race. Pedro Delgado is 4 minutes and 30 seconds behind Greg LeMond in 8th place. And as you saw, the Banesto team is the overall leaders in the Tour de France, is the overall team leaders so far. Now that the PDM team has dropped out, the PDMs were, up until Tuesday, the best overall team and it is going to be interesting to see again what happens there. And there you see the Banesto team. Should mention to you that today the Swiss Urs Zimmermann of the Motorola team has been eliminated from the race for not having taken the plane that takes the riders from Nantes to Pau. That was said today by the head of the Tour de France. And Urs Zimmermann did not take the plane, and so he has been knocked out. That is because there are very strict rules regarding how the different players, the different riders must sign in. There was another rider who had injury problems, another Swissman, Pascal Richard of the Helvetia team. He did not take the plane for medical reasons, and he received a warning for that. So the Motorola team has had its ups and downs, and we saw that they've had Phil Anderson win a stage a couple of days ago, and now they've had different problems. Here you see the Z team. They have problems of their own. The Z's have injury problems to deal with. Alt Klaslov, so they have their 9 riders intact as they head into the first mountain stage. And the Scotsman Robert Millar also is having problems of his own as far as injuries go, although he seems more recovered than the Norwegian Klaslov.
Welcome then to our ongoing coverage of the Tour de France. This is the 90 stage coming to you via Eurosport, and already today a lot of action, and we're going, I think, slightly ahead of schedule. So if you're waiting to switch on at 4 o'clock, welcome to an earlier start of this great race, which has confounded all the critics, the way in which the riders bounce back the next day when most of them expect them to be very, very tired indeed. Because yesterday, that strong stage of 255 kilometres from Bourg-d'Oisans to Morzine absolutely split the field, but here they are again, these riders in action and going on the road today, covering 177 kilometres from Morzine to Aix-les-Bains. It's been a bit up and down so far today, and some of the riders have taken advantage of the undulations, and here we've got this little break, as you can see at the moment. Hodge, Jalabert and Anderson just 31 seconds ahead of Esno, Abadi and the Peloton at 51. Well, I think they might find themselves being absorbed by the Peloton the way they were going then. Certainly the hammer has been put down. We've had some blocking tactics earlier on this morning when the rider from the Once team, the winner of the Tour of Spain, Michael Maury, went away and set a fast pace to begin with. In fact, at one time he got an 8-minute lead on the pack. Here we are, confirmation of that little group of riders who are trying to stay away of the main pack, and I think it's highly probable they might begin to drop the service vehicles in. Now Esno here had a go yesterday to try and go well on the stage, and now he's here again in action. Just therefore confirm that the man from the Once team, Maury, who took a tremendous risk, I think, early on and went for a long one. We've not seen a lot of him in the race so far, but he went off and had a lead of 8 minutes. Once sat on the front, but it tired him out rather, and then he was reeled back in again. Here we're going back, Moto 2, you can see Rooks there trying to stay on the wheels. In fact, a little bit of gaps opening up all the way as we're heading in towards the finish of this race. We're beginning to climb up the Col du Marais, and then we're picking up the Col de Plain-Palais, and they're all parts of the rise up to the La Revade, where they will top at 1,418 metres after covering 153.5 kilometres at the top of the mountain, and then it's all downhill to the finish at Aix-les-Bains. In fact, there's 23 kilometres off the top of the mountain down into the finish at Aix-les-Bains. So I think everybody's trying to get this thing together today, but still one or two entrepreneurial spirits as ever in the Tour de France, with all the main top riders watching each other further back. Then it's an opportunity for, oh, there's Greg LeMond. What an amazing man. He slipped off the front of the pack, and here he is having a go. He's probably got something around about a 15-second lead there with Rooks. So LeMond and Rooks are together, and he's driving this one on. Well, they were in the papers today talking about Le Mans, le grand champion, the great champion. Not so much because he's winning the race, because in fact he went back yesterday in a big way. He started the day before yesterday on general classification 6 minutes 39 seconds down on Indurain, and in the rain yesterday he took an awful pasting and he came in way down. In fact, Le Mans yesterday was 59th overall, 7 minutes 52 seconds behind the winner, and here he's back in action again. He's 8th overall now, 14 minutes and 1 second down on Indurain. The nearest rival to him, Hamstern, is 9 minutes 43 seconds down, so there's a good 4.5 minutes separating Le Mans from Andy Hamstern. He's not going to get anything back today I think on Hamstern in large lumps of time anyway, but he's just showing courage yet again to try and split the field and show that he's still going and he's not out of contention. So that's Rooks on the front of this little group, and the pack's up in front, splitting all the time. He's looking back to see what sort of help he's got. Certainly nobody from the Z team. Le Mans here on the front of the pack and driving it hard. Greg LeMond, confirmation there, what I've just been saying to you, that he's 18th overall at 14 minutes and 1 second back on the leader. So I think Greg can say bye-bye to the Tour this year. He's pulled off some enormous performances in the past to win the Tour 3 times, and perhaps best of all, that 8-second beating of Fignon a couple of years ago in the time trial into Paris. So the race isn't over yet by any means. Things can happen all the time, and we're wishing Indurain luck. We hope he doesn't have any bad luck at all. I understand down in Pamplona, the reports are coming in from the journalists. I mean, the whole of Spain now is almost en fête. They're getting ready, of course, for the Olympic Games at Barcelona in 12 months' time. It's sort of 12 months away from the Olympic Games, but already the whole of the supporters in Pamplona of cycle racing are beginning to celebrate Indurain's victory in this Tour de France. But of course, let's hope that nothing happens to him. It's still some time to go before he gets to the finishing line, and that'll be on Sunday, by the way, still going live on Eurosport. We brought you every stage of the race. We had a few mechanical problems yesterday, or technical issues, and we apologize if you had difficulty following it yesterday, because we lost the helicopter, and that's why we lost the pictures. The helicopter's flying today. Weather overcast, occasional bursts of sunshine. It's not been a bad day for bike racing at all. Plenty of oxygen in the air following the rain that we've been having recently. So the riders here enjoying themselves on this stage. I think that they're getting towards the end of the race. This is the last of the mountainous stages in the Tour de France. So an opportunity for some of these riders to have a little go. Well, as ever, we've got less than 40 kilometers from the group, so that Pascal Richard and Konychev are at 40 seconds ahead of this group. Pascal Richard and Konychev. Richard started the Tour de France in quite good form, but he's dropped off the pace quite a bit recently, and so has Konychev. He hasn't really come on song as he would like to have done, I think, in the Tour, and so they're probably trying to rescue something from it. 40 seconds then to this group here, with 40 kilometers still to go. That pack all strung out. I can certainly see that the riders up in front of them are setting a fast pace, and I think that they would like to get up there and close that gap down. Still, it's anybody's race. We're still on this climb of the hill up towards the top of the La Relade. It starts down at the bottom of the valley with a height of somewhere around about 750 meters, and then it goes right up to 1,418 meters, so it sort of doubles itself on this climb. The climb taking the riders up as they, in the bottom of the valley, they were at 130 kilometers covered, and it's sort of 153 meters at the top, so they're going to be covering around about 23 kilometers of constant climbing today. And this is the last big test in the Tour. We've been over the Pyrenees for a couple of days. We're now the third day in the Alps, and there's going to be a special prize for the best climber in the Alps, taking the 3 days together. And of course, Charlie Motti got the one in the Pyrenees. He hasn't had such a good time in the Alps, so I think that may well go to something like Bunion or Indurain. We'll have to see how the points are going. Today is not over yet, and the riders still going up this hill with a big pack trying to chase them down.
Eurosport, the Tour de France.
The gap is in fact increasing between this little group at the front, led by Rooks, the champion of Holland. There is Greg LeMond on his wheel. It's a nice, tidy looking little group of riders, and up in front of them still Pascal Richard and Dmitry Konychev, about 40 seconds ahead of them. So there's a little bit of a way to go yet before they're going to get. Gaston has just gone through. We've got the ever-present riders from the Allios team. They're certainly having a go this time. They put a rider up every day with the action. This time we've got Conti, who was there yesterday in the climb, so he's reveling in these conditions. Abadi, Simon and Rui in that little group as well. So the chase is on. They look like they're splitting a bit, and somebody's gone away off the front. And I think it's Greg LeMond. Hang on, let's have a look at this one. That certainly Rooks is down, they're struggling, and it's LeMond rocking away. Well, what an amazing recovery by Greg LeMond. He's going away from that pack. He's riding as if he's got the prospect of taking back the yellow jersey, but he's got 14 minutes to do it. Hello, his legs are beginning to go a bit slow. I think, yes, he winds quite a big gear up on the climb, and they've come back up to him, so that's not surprising then. Greg LeMond has now been caught by these, but I think he might have split them. We'll have to wait till the camera goes back down again. He's got Chozas on his wheel, ever-present Chozas. He's been there up in the Pyrenees, showing quite well indeed. But no, the action hasn't caused this little group to split. They're still there, hanging on to the back of the wheel. That's Gaston, Inaki Gaston from the class team. And just up in front of him, oh, here we are, this is the gap. They're now giving it at 55 seconds back to the main pack as far as these two riders are concerned. There is the main pack with the first sight we've had today of the yellow jersey. Indurain being followed by Claudio Chiappucci. Just behind them is Laurent Fignon, and the packs of the Banestos all the way round about him. Look at the way, there's Delgado on the front, charging up this hill, and just in front of him, Magda Rodriguez from the Banesto squad, and they're riding well, these Banestos. Keeping the pace high, so the man in the yellow jersey, we've got Indurain, cannot be attacked by the people who are trying to get the crown off him. Gianni Bugno, I haven't actually seen him. They only drifted back a little while to see who was behind Indurain. Certainly we saw Chiappucci and Fignon, but I'm sure that Gianni Bugno will be there. Other information for you today, one non-starter was Dag Otto Lauritsen, so that's thinned the field down. There's Greg going through. Conti on his wheel here. Conti looking very good indeed. So there's Ray just behind him. Espinosa in this little group as well, and that is Espinosa. Again, a rider who was entertaining us yesterday by his spirited riding. And just up in front of Pulnikov, I would have thought that Pulnikov is going to try this one too hard, although it would in fact work in their favour. But I'm trying to work out, I've seen Claudio Chiappucci, this is the last of big climbs, and Thierry Clavrela has been trying to get the polka dot jersey off the shoulders of Chiappucci. Chiappucci actually took the first of the climbs today as we went over the fourth category climb at the Coast de Yek, and that was immediately 4 kilometres after the start. We're looking at Indurain now. Chiappucci got the first climb ahead of Clavrela and Mauri. Mauri took off then and went away. So Mauri's been collecting the maximum points on the various climbs. 55 seconds back to the group still. On the Col du Marais, Winterberg and Brunel had a bit of a breakaway. They got caught going off the top of it. So I should think at this rate of knots then... Oh, there we are. There's Bugno. There's Bugno in that pack. Look at the concentration. And the camera is right in amongst the bunch. There's Charlie Motte, lying at the moment 4th overall, general classification, 4:57. And a quick look at Luc Leblanc, riding close. There he is, the revelation of the Tour, I should think. And the French are very excited at the moment, because they've got 8 riders in the top 20. Conti's having to go, because up in front they're beginning to split. Alps having an absolutely brilliant tour, this team. On the first day they won the team time trial, and Sorensen, because of that great performance, he was in the break of 11 men. Hello, they've got Kasani down there. If I'm making a mistake, have a quick little look, because I thought it was Conti, and they're right and I'm wrong, and it's Kasani that's gone off the front there. I thought I spotted Mr. Conti. We'll have to wait and see whether there's 2 Aristides ploughing their way up this hill. Certainly Rooks and LeMond are working well together. LeMond accelerated and found his gears a bit on the high side. Rooks has come up as a lovely smooth pedaler, Rooks. Look at that style. Of course, the previous winner of the Alps d'Huez climb, 24 seconds. They're beginning to pull back Pascal Richard and Dmitry Konychev. So I think they're going to find themselves with company before long. Le Monde preferring to sit down in the saddle. Rooks occasionally accelerating by coming out the saddle. Much taller, slimmer rider than Greg LeMond. Rooks now riding for the Buckler squad. And they've already had a stage success in this tour when Neidham got it on the 5th day. Of course, tomorrow, I suppose, the sprinters will be back in business and looking for an opportunity of getting themselves some more accolades, because this is the last day when the specialist mountain climbers can show what they're doing. Espinosa and Inaki Gaston from the class teams, they've got a couple of rides up here. There's Greg LeMond for Z wearing the hard shell crash helmet now. It's got a bit cooler so they can wear these helmets. There's been a lot of discussion going on. In fact, the last time I saw it, that the riders who had been riding without the helmets, there's something like 600,000 French francs had been at the level of the fines, but they've got some sort of moratorium on it now, and I think they've decided that they're going to stop fining them anymore at the moment and try and resolve matters. The UCI, Unicycle Cycliste Nationale, has got involved. And Heim Verbruggen has come down as well to the race to try and sort it out, and he's been having a word with Madio, who's the rider's representative. They had quite a conversation last night to try and resolve the problems.
Eurosport, the Tour de France.
And the group of riders still surrounding the yellow jersey of Indurain. The Banestos packed round about him, trying to keep the tempo up, and still the major contenders to the crown behind him. But that group in front has begun to split. In fact, no, there's some more riders going away, because that Amaya rider was certainly not in that leading pack earlier on, nor was the rider from the Postobon team. So there's a little bit of group sliding off the front of this one, and still some way up is that chasing pack containing Greg LeMond and Stephen Rooks. And that's a little bit of a splinter, and here we are back up. In fact, there is Tunisia coming up as well, so we've got quite a lot of changes going on here. Tunisia up here with this little chasing group of riders. Gert-Jan Tunisia, who's not had also the most successful tour. He's trying to win that stage up the Alpe d'Huez. He had some sickness in the Pyrenees when he drank some orange squash that I think upset him, and now he's with a little pack of riders. This race is spread all over this mountain. On this climb up toward the top of the La Revade, and one or two riders are beginning to think perhaps they shouldn't have gone and done it, because the climb up here is beginning to take effect on the hopeful riders that are nipped off the front. We've still got, or last we heard, we got Pascal Richard and Dmitry Konychev way out at the top of this, going toward the top of this climb in the lead. Let's see if they've been caught yet. Well, no. You see that Ray won't. No, he won't help, and he doesn't have any reason to help either, because his teammate is up in front. Pascal Richard is away at the front of this little group, so there's no reason that Ray is going to aid that chase at all. And he just waved the other riders on through to let them know it's up to them to do something about the chasing down. There's Pulnikov, one of the Soviet Union riders that have come across into the professional ranks. And still that driving on the front. Kasani in this little pack, Greg LeMond, and shows us just on the wheel of Greg LeMond. And then coming up, Pulnikov, short, choppy little rider, rear behind him, and he certainly isn't going to aid this chase, I say, because he's going to sit on the wheels there and let everybody else do the work, and perhaps help his teammate if they get up there. Gérard Ray from France, riding with Helvetia team, which is a team based in Switzerland, co-sponsored by, bikes provided by Mr. Eddie Works. No, they're not, they're Villager, my mistake, Villager. No, the same, that's right, I knew something about their bikes that was interesting. In fact, Villager, cigar smokers know the name well. It's part of the branch of the family. They've got a bike factory as well, churning out something like about 50 or 60,000 bikes a year, and they are sponsoring cycle racing, so you can even smoke and cough yourself to death or ride a bike and get some fresh air down your lungs. You've got extreme contrast, really. Also very partial to their cigars and their bicycles as well. Well, that's the look at his bicycle, a Villager bicycle, riding on Sun Tour equipment as well. It's an unusual combination here, because lots of people seem to go for Shimano or Campagnola, but Sun Tour now getting more and more popular as well in the group. And here's his teammate up in front, Pascal Richard, out of the saddle. Great all-round competitor, of course. He's past cyclocross champion of the world. and a very great climber. If you're watching our coverage last year of the Tour de France, then he was in there in action in the hills, because it's when it goes up, this man goes very fast indeed. Previous stage winner in the Tour de France, and also behind him another stage winner in the Tour de France, and that was last year when Konychev surprised everybody by getting himself a stage victory. There he is, concentrating hard. Both these two riders, and I think they've got to pull something out of the bag. They came into this race full of high hopes. In fact, there's a pack behind, though. They're still not going to get this lot come across without a fight. The group being led by still Rooks on the front, and behind him the ever-present Ariel-Steers. So there we are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 we can see out of this lot. Really going through. So quite rightly taking up the position of the ticket collector at the back. He's not going to do anything to aid this chase, and the gap still seems to be about the same for this little group. So there's a long way yet for these riders to go and catch them at the top. And on the downhill swoop, then we certainly know that people like Pascal Richard and Konychev, they're pretty quick, because if you watched our coverage of the World Championships a couple of years ago at Chambéry, when it poured down with rain, then Konychev came off the top of that mountain like a bullet from a gun. And it was diabolical condition like we had yesterday, but it's much smoother road for them to drop down, and he really took off on the way down there. So he certainly showed his ability as a descender in the World Championships, and let's see what he's going to do this time. Here he is. We're back up then with these two leaders. That's Konychev at the back. Finished 25th last year in the Tour de France, and he had himself 5 victories last year, which the main one, I suppose, was the becoming the Soviet Union champion. And of course he won the 17th stage of the Tour de France. So there's a group 20 seconds back to the Le Mans group, and 1 minute 10 seconds to Indurain. So Le Mans group are catching them, and they're just drifting away slightly from the pack containing the yellow jersey. But they're being chased down by all sorts of other little riders trying to get across. This is the group at 1:10. And we're getting up towards the top of this climb. Still the two riders in the front, Pascal Richard and Dmitry Konychev. What a pretty sight this is. Of course, they're getting up now, Bane. One of the Swiss riders begin to have a go, because the Swiss supporters out in force to see the Tour. And the race started not far away from Bane when we started in Lyon. We've done virtually a complete circuit of France now, and when we've got ourselves through tomorrow, and then off to the time trial on Saturday, and the ceremonial thrash into Paris on the Sunday. The gaps are quite considerable at the moment, but the time trial can still topple 1 or 2. Le Monde is really ploughing on, isn't he? What a tremendous character. Greg Le Monde, his family are over here on the Tour, and they've been worried about his health, but he's come back. There was some talk at one time that he's white corpuscle or red blood corpuscles went right. There's all sort of rumours of him flying around. They've been saying he got some sort of strange viral disease, but nevertheless he's had some ups and down days, but he's battled on with a lot of courage. I think he's earned himself a lot of spurs as well, because Greg had a reputation last year, and even at the start of this year, just climbing off his bike when things got hard. Not the Tour de France, of course, that's his speciality. I mean, what else can you say about a man who in 1984 rode the race and came 3rd? He then went into 85 and came 2nd, and 86 he went 1 better and came 1st. And in 1989, of course, he won it again, and he won it last year as well. So Greg Le Monde, 3 times winner of the Tour de France. He's now came up 30 years of age, so he's got a few good years of bike riding in front of him, but of course it's getting more and more difficult for him to emulate Hino and Merckx and have 5 victories in the Tour de France, because there's a lot of strong opposition now. There we are, Pascal Richard out of the saddle, and this is the pack chasing them down. Still on the back, Gerard Rouet, letting the others make the pace, as he would have to do so. And just on the back then, Inaki Gaston. And up in front, the rider from the Ariel-Steer team, 122, and that is Kasani. Well, the pack there, just over 1 minute behind them. And they're going quite quickly, so it gives you some idea. 1 minute 40, well, in fact, it's grown now. So it's increased now to 140 to Indurain's group. We're getting quite towards the top of this climb. And still Le Mans group at 27 seconds from Richard and Konychev. They should almost be able to see them, I'd have thought. And here's another little group with Tunisia. We haven't had any time checks on this one, because Gökhan Tunisia's in this little pack. They're between the Le Mans group and the group containing the yellow jersey. There's Gökhan Tunisia riding for TVM. Well, that's interesting because Konychev also rides for TVM, and he's going up there probably to aid his competitor if he gets alongside. And so that's an interesting move by Gökhan Tunisia on the climb up the hill here. Let's see how we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, yes, the ever-present Adios Tears back in here again at RMO, likewise. And so no time checks coming up at the moment. Well, we're 3 kilometers from the top of the climb, and that means the two leaders with only this slender lead of around about 24 seconds or so. Well, the pace is pretty constant at the in this group. Shozas is in there, Espinosa's in there, Pulnikov's in there, Rue's in there. There's Shozas, and there's Rooks and Le Monde and Kasani. And still these are two setting the pace at the top. They really are starting to roll fast. On the front then is Pascal Richard. He's been doing most of the work going up the top here. He's in fine form. He finished second overall in the Tour of Switzerland, which we covered on Eurosport just a week before the Tour de France started. And here he's trying to win this stage into Aix-les-Bains.
Eurosport. The Tour de France. This program is brought to you by Eurosport.
Still on the climb, the two leaders nearly over the top of this mountain, which has been dragging up now for something in around about 20 kilometers of hard action. And here they are. You can see right up on the top there the spectators. As I remember him, he'd said some years ago, Bill Nixon, who rode for the TI Rally team, he said when he first rode in the big events like this, he looked, oh, they're talking about TI Rally, British supporters out there with the old Union Jack waving this lot on. Well, our best placed Brit, of course, is our Scotsman, and that's Robert Miller, way back on general classification following his terrible crash, 73rd overall. Yesterday, he helped in Greg LeMond when LeMond was suffering. Miller came in 58th place, LeMond 59th, and he had him on his wheel all the way up the climbs. So Robert doing the job of a super domestique to his team captain and the leader of the Z squad. So the captain, of course, is Mr. Duclair. But here we are, there's the top of the climb, and the pack is chasing down those two leaders, forcing their way through the spectators who've just come out into the road. They're almost having to aim at the people to force their way through. The leaders have gone over the top of that climb. We haven't been able to get a time check on them because we can't get the motorbike up there, but we'll try and pick up some of the times of the chasing group coming through. Well, they've rather allowed the spectators to push too far forward, and because you can see how there's no motorcycle up in front for some strange reason. We haven't been able to get a motorbike up there to marshal the spectators and push them back. As here, the chasing group with Tunisia on board is now at 23 seconds, so 23 seconds back to Tunisia, beginning to struggle and finding it rather difficult to hang on in that little pack at the back. There is Frederic Vichot, who again has been climbing very well indeed. He's in the second pack with Tunisia, but I think he's drifted off. Oh, look how fast they've gone away. Tunisia now has dropped this one rider, and these are the men going down the other side. It's all downhill, so sit tight and fasten your seat belts and hang on in there, and let's hope we don't have too many heart attacks on the way down. It's certainly a beautiful day for it today compared with yesterday when they were dropping down the mountains and the gravel on the road and the potholes. Lechelet had a tremendous crash on the way down, but managed to finish, and he's in the race today. Hard man. We all crossed our fingers when we heard he crashed, because his ambition is, and he's now on his way towards doing it, is to finish this Tour de France. They're ready for the Once team, and that will be the third time in succession that he's ridden the Tour of Spain, the Tour of Italy and the Tour de France in 1 year. So he did it last year, he did it the year before, and he's doing it this year as well. What a magnificent sight. Some beautiful countryside round here, but you can imagine the riders have come from down the bottom there, and they've been able to look up and see these Alps looming above them, and they've been riding up and down this sort of territory. I should think there's one or two going to be very happy that they're out of this type of terrain and heading back down, because tomorrow much flatter, and the next day and so on into Paris, because it's been a tough old tour. A lot of people said it wasn't as tough as they've had in previous years, and somewhat, but then it's the racers, it's the riders, it's the men on the bikes that make the that make the race. They're the ones that go for it, because providing they go flat out and ride hard, then they can make a race even on a flat surface. If they're just riding round and round on roads where it doesn't go down, they can still have a race that blows people out the back, because it's all then done by speed. So the riders make the race strong. They made it hard this time as well. And I think that's what the 20 kilometres to go banner, which is facing the wrong way round. So in fact, 77, that would be somewhere getting close to 20 kilometres to go banner, but it looks like it was put, I was going to say by an Irishman then, but Stephen Roche with a thump me. He's not with me today, unfortunately, but there we are. So yes, we are past the 20 kilometres. The man was a little back over his shoulders, is spotted. Greg LeMond now 13 seconds from those two leaders. His little group coming down, 1:58 back to Indurain, and of course Tunisia, with about 3 other riders, is wedged in between them. Well, Vichot has got back. I'd cross him off my little list here, saying that I didn't think he's going to make it, but he's got back up there. And there's the yellow jersey with the pack of riders round about him. Still, the Banesto is doing a fine job, giving him a clear run down. And as ever, like Batman and Boy Robin, there is Bunyo on Indurain's wheel. Konychev at the back. Rather a chunky sort of rider, and he doesn't seem to be descending quite as fast. No, see, he's lost quite a few lengths there on that descent. He just eased back. I think he was a little bit worried about the speed at which they're going around the corner. There were about 20 kilometres to go, so I wonder what the other banner was that I saw that turned inside out. Perhaps just an advertising hoarding. There's Rooks drifted back a bit. Of course, Le Mans is a fearless descender. He can really drop down and frighten a few people, and he's the one on the front now, towing it along. Jared Roos decided he'd better close up as well, and that's the chasing group. These are 22 seconds, this little chasing group here from that banner. And easing himself off the centre, that's Gaston Inaki. Or Inaki Gaston, get around the right way. Well, hang on to your seats, there we go. Whoops, one's gone. Yes, it's, oh, it looks like Kasani's gone down with a bang. He just lost control, I said. And look at his ripped shorts. Is his bike all right? Oh, it's Conti, yep. Well, I got him in the pack before Conti, so there must be the splitting of this pack at the moment. He went down with a bang, he's ripped his shorts. The same thing happened to Fondriès yesterday. He went off just like that, went too fast round the corner. Let's have a look at that one now. As he goes round, he's on the same line as the rest of the riders, so what on earth happened? Well, he must have slammed his brakes on. I can't see any oil or anything on the road. Skidded, and Konychev just missed him. Oh, he's punctured. His front tyre's punctured. That's what it is. I can see it's flatted. The Mavic service cars come up to him, and that's why he lost control. What a bad place to puncture. Just on a corner, he flatted the front tyre, lost all the air, and he's riding down on the rim, because these tyres, they're tubular tyres. Many of the drivers are using tubular. Some of them, of course, use the new, very high inflationary types of tyres that you have on your ordinary bicycle, where you've got what we call clinchers. That's the inner tube is separate, and the outer tube sits, the outer cover sits into a little well. But many of the riders are still using tubular tyres, and they're stuck onto the rim. The tube is actually, the inner tube is inside the tyre, stitched. The tube is stitched together and stuck on the rim, and they inflate into around about 100 pounds per square inch of pressure. And if you hit a flint, it can take all the pressure straight out, and then you're riding on an alloy rim, which is a concave shape, so you're really like on a very thin skate almost. And once that happens, you're just going to lose complete control of the bike if you're cornering. That's how we saw Conti go down with a bang. These are our two leaders, Konychev up in front, and Pascal Richard is driving it hard now. Well, Richard seems to have got back into form. When we had the day off, we went down from Nantes to Pau by airplane. this rider, Pascal Richard, in fact took an airplane, went down to see a chiropractor for some treatment. He flew all the way down to Nice airport, from Nantes to Nice. 17 kilometres to go at the moment, so he went to his chiropractor, who's in fact in Caen. So he flew from Nantes to Nice, then went off to Caen, came back again, took a flight from Nice to Paris, another one from Paris to Pau on the day off when everybody else was on their way down to Pau for the next day's race. So he had his treatment. It seems to have done him a lot of good as well, because he's come back in fine form and loves the mountains. He had a third place on the second stage of the Tour de Switzerland this year. In fact, he's had quite a good year because he ran a stage in the Tour Romandie. He won a prologue in the Tour Romandie as well, and he was fourth overall in the Tour of Mediterranean. And he finished 56 last year in the Tour de Suisse, way down, so he's improved it somewhat this year by coming second overall in the Tour de Suisse. There is Konychev hammering his way through. Look at that for streamlining. And these two are working extremely well together. 15 kilometres to go for the leading two. Konychev, very fearless defender. Had 5 wins last year, Konychev, and he's just edging his way off the front of this one. Not done too much this year. It was his first time he rode the Tour de France last year when he finished 25th and got that stage victory. And we were perhaps all hoping a little bit more out of him this year, but he's going down this hill very fast. That's 27 seconds to this little group, and as this is the back of that group, by the way, because we're just looking at Pulikov here, then Le Mans must be, I should have thought, round about 17 to 18 seconds, because I'm certain Le Mans is leading this one down. There's Pulikov, easy. Now he's not going anywhere near the same speed as the leaders. So our motorcycle cameraman has 40 fits, and he's back again. I don't know what he's done with his camera. Hairpin bends all the way down, and as soon as you go around one, having put your brakes on, you've got to get out the saddle, wind it up again, then sit down again, off you go again. Well, you have to have strong nerves on this sort of thing. This is the sort of corner that Conti came off on, because that was due to a puncture. And these are our two riders, still Konychev at the front. And not far to go now that the riders, it's still downhill, by the way. They've only got a couple of kilometres on the flat, so they may yet stay away.
Eurosport. The Tour de France. This program is brought to you by Eurosport.
It's getting ever so close to that finish. They're still out there, some 20 seconds away from Le Mans. There we are, 70 kilometres per hour is the time that they're descending. That comes off our special device that hooks into the motorcycle to tell you how fast they're travelling. And the Greg LeMond group within 20 seconds, as soon as it straights out at the bottom, I think they'll probably see those two riders, but it's 2 minutes back to the peloton. And I should suspect that the main group containing the yellow jersey is not going to do any heroics now, because there we are, 1:55 back to group Indurain. So they probably snaffle an extra 5 seconds, though perhaps 5 seconds here nor there is something that we can forgive the timekeepers. There is Rooks at the back of this little pack, minus Conti, who came down with an almighty bang, having punctured his front tyre. I think by the time he's got himself, the other Mavic car was right alongside him. By the time he gets his wheel in, he might decide that he'll sit in there and wait for the next group to come up and collect him on the way down. So bad luck for Ariel Steer, because quite a useful performer, could have been up there with this little pack. Rook's still sitting on the back. He drove it up the hill very well indeed. And Le Mans is the one that's doing the chasing. Gerard Roux is just in front. Le Mans is a little speck in the distance, and there's just 4 men here now. Looks like Pulikov, who's a past stage winner in the Tour of Italy, has decided that he can't hold on to this sort of pace, because he always fighting his way back. That shows us onto Le Mans' wheel. Le Mans has gone back into second place. Look at these two go. Shows us he's fearless as well in descending. Le Mans been leading them all the way down. Rooks has gone on the wheel, and Roux has just eased back off the front. So Gerard Roux sitting in there with these are two they're chasing down. A little bit of a slight rise here. It does go up a little bit into Aigues-les-Bains the last 2 kilometres. I said it's flat. It's not absolutely flat. There's a little bit of a rise in it, but still 10 kilometres to go for them, and they've still got some more downhill yet before they hit that final couple of kilometres in towards the finish. Just a bit of false flat there in the village. And I put the watch on that one. What is it this time? As Le Monde leads the chasers through 16 seconds. So Le Monde is gaining. Is he going to get there? And has he got a chance of winning this stage? Because here, Le Monde then, has he got a chance of getting up there? He was so close when he was away on the stage when Ribeiro won the stage. And now let's see. Whoops, sorry, we've gone to black. But there we are, back again. And this little pack, this is the group containing Tunisia, and I was wondering if we'll get a chance to pick up the 10. Well, yes, we're going to get this one as well. This little group, we've now got a time check on, and we hadn't got it before, and that's 56 seconds. 56 seconds back to this group, and that's Kasani, not the one that fell off. Conti was the one that fell off from the front pack. Kasani's back with this pack. And they've also got two. There's Tunisia just taking them around the bend there. One of the riders from the Podium team, and 116 also in that little pack at the moment. We're trying to pick up who's in there, and that's Maya from the Podium team. He, I think, is the best placed young rider overall at the moment. They've been having a little competition, as they always do, for the youngest riders, and he's been going very well in that section of the race. And just a quick look at this. Yes, Maya from the Raiolo Podium team. And there, oh, look, we haven't seen him for a long time. In the green jersey, Abdul Japarov. So they're over the top of the climb. He's managed to survive that one. It looks like he's got Ludwig with him as well. They've been coming in so far off the back in the big mountains. They begin to realise that perhaps they have got a chance of picking up a stage here today. So at long last, we're getting some of the people we haven't seen before. Yekimov is just behind his compatriot in terms of Soviet Union riders, but of course they're riding for different teams. There is Bunyo just putting his hand out as a warning he's coming through, and these are two riders in the lead. That's Konychev still leading the way through, 75 kilometres per hour, touching up 5 kilometres more, it'll be 80 kilometres, and that makes, in fact, they're there now, that's 50 miles an hour that they're touching on the descent. It doesn't look it here because there's a telephoto lens which is inclined not to give you the true impression of speed, but if we actually sort of put it sideways and have a look at the trees whizzing by, they're doing just under 50 miles an hour, and this on a bicycle weighing less than 20 pounds and with thin tyres. 19 seconds back to Greg LeMond, 2 minutes back to the Indurain. And the motorcycle just keeping a little bit back from these two, allowing them room to move round and take the best possible racing line down the hill. Well, we've spent the last couple of days watching them toil uphill when they were going at just much better than walking pace, when the riders were really grovelling under terrible conditions, and it hurts and it hurts and it hurts. And here we're now back on the downhill bit, and the riders enjoying this little bit as fast as they can pedal. They're whizzing down here, and that just a quick look there at Maya Castillon from the Podium team. And I think amassed in that little lot of Banesto, I saw one or two of the Carrera jerseys getting up as well. So they're probably trying to get Abdul Japarov back in contention, having noted he survived it, but they've got 2-minute gap to jump, and I don't think they're going to do it the way these two are going. Konychev's still doing all the chasing down this hill. I'm rather thought that he... at long last, Pascal Richard's coming through. He's obviously the faster of the two descenders, but it was, I think Konychev really has decided he's got to drive it down the hill and then let Pascal Richard do some of the work when they get on a bit of a flatter part. So Konychev back into second spot here behind Pascal Richard. Calls the wrath of his team manager when, after his wonderful success in the second place at Chambéry, when he got himself a silver medal, he was riding for Alfa Lum. They gave him a brand new Alfa Romeo motor car. No relationship between the two companies, but there you are, he got it and he promptly crashed the thing. That didn't go down very well, I can tell you. So the yellow cars drop back off the front, so they must be closing, and still Le Monde is driving this one down. And in fact, he's now dropped back with Rui on his wheel. It looks like Le Monde, he's let Chozas do the chasing. So it's Chozas now who's on the front of this one. Rook's on his wheel, then Le Monde easing himself up out the saddle. And this is the Tunisia group. So it's getting close to the 5 kilometre. So the main pack is 2 minutes back behind them, but this is the little group containing Maya and Tunisia. Tunisia not doing any chasing either, because I think he's decided now that they haven't got much chance of catching them. Conti's in this little pack. So Conti, Maya, Tunisia. And just at the back there is Inaki Gaston. Well, he was in that leading pack to begin with. He's got shelled out and collected by the... sorry, he was in the chasing group. Let's call it that, the chasing group, the Mons group. He's been obviously caught now by Tunisia's group, but these two still thundering down here. Well, Konychev got a third place on our stage. That was the, I think, 4th kilometre to go. It flashed back very quickly. Third place on the stage from Alençon to Rennes when Ribeiro got it from Jalabert. And there was a little breakaway group, then some 6 men. And Konychev was third in that one, but very close indeed. So he's certainly got an extremely good sprint and might well have a go at that one. Well, that was 4 kilometres to go. So only 4 kilometres. The speed they're coming down, they're knocking these kilometres out at around about a minute a kilometre. So in fact, they're going faster than 1 minute a kilometre down here. So there's only about 4 minutes left before they go into the finishing straight. Which of these two is going to win it, or will Le Mans catch them? They're getting close now.
Eurosport. The Tour de France. This program is brought to you by Eurosport. This looks like the event of the year.
And still those 2 leading riders are away, and there we see it's just 2 kilometres to go for Pascal Richard and now Konychev on the front. Le Mans is still chasing down. They're within about 15 seconds of these 2 riders, closing the gap all the time. Are they going to hang on in there just these last 2 kilometres? Konychev on the front. On that stage, Alençon to Rennes, he was way. Look, here they go. They can see them in the distance down there, but I think they've decided it's all up and over and done with now. They've got to go some of these last 2 kilometres to catch these 2 riders, but of course they could slow for the sprint. Konychev, beaten by Ribeiro and Jalabert when he's away with Calcaterre, Lely and Bontempi, has now put Pascal Richard on the front. Pascal Richard, second on the stage, Pau Jacques, when Motte got over the line in first place. And he'd been away then with Luc Leblanc when Leblanc went up on to take the yellow jersey. So both these 2 riders ahead of this little group here have had the misfortune to finish either third or second. I say misfortune, it's worth quite a bit of money actually to finish second or third, but one of them could well win it, but I don't think this pack can hound them down. They're still going at it. They haven't spent too much time finessing and playing the old cat and mouse tactics, because they realise they've got to keep winding it up. Konychev done most of the work on the downhill. What sort of sprint has he got? Well, for my money, he's a slightly faster man than Richard when it comes to sprinting. Which one is going to get this one? Richard looking back, fearful of the Le Mans group coming up, because this has been known to happen before now. Those 4 men were working at it. There we are, 1 kilometre. That's all there is left for these riders. And the pack behind of Le Monde, Rooks still coming at him, together with Chozas, who is no mean sprinter either, trying to drive up to catch them. And they're still pedalling smoothly, but not at any great rate of knots. They probably decide they've just got enough in hand. And this is that they're under the 1 kilometre, so yes, I think they have. Le Monde has drifted off the back. He's there on Gerard Roux's wheel. Roux's going, Rooks on the far side. It looks like Chozas has gone for a long one. So Richard looking back to see where Chozas is, obviously coming up like a train, and he's still worrying. Now, if he looks back like that and Konychev knows he's looking back, Konychev will take a flyer. But Konychev is in the wrong position at the moment. He's leading out Pascal Richard, the Soviet Union rider in the front, the one from Switzerland behind, TVM rider in the front, the Helvetia rider behind, and this is where they start to go. I'm sure they've got to keep it going a bit quicker. Richard just put his hand down and clicked into another notch, and Le Mans group with Chozas driving it hard is closing up on them. We should probably see them on the shot. Look at the spectators cheering them, and it's coming up now from behind. It's still about 150 metres though between these 2 and the pack behind. I think they've got it, yes, 150 metres for them to go. Chozas on the right-hand side, coming up alongside the barriers, but on the front, Konychev is going for it. Richard on the right-hand side, flicks past his wheel, driving for the line, and Konychev's got it. Richard just, he knew he was cooked just at the last minute. The telephoto lens slightly exaggerating the finish here, the closest of it. In fact, there was just 11 seconds back to Chozas. Le Mans coming in, taking Roux on the line. In fact, I think probably Rooks got in there. So Konychev got that one, and that's another stage victory then for Dmitry Konychev, ahead of Pascal Richard, who's had 2 seconds now in the Tour, and I think he's going to be disappointed with that one. But still, there's another couple of days to go, but I don't think he'll win the time trial. In fact, 3 days to go yet, as the That was Pulnikov coming in, who was out at the back of that pack. And what we got behind, another little bunch of riders thundering on down. That'll be the Tunisia group. As now, probably Espinosa slipped off the front because the class riders were drifting off the front of that pack, and there's still more groups coming round. That final climb certainly sliced them up into little pieces. We get time checks back onto the main pack. There on the right-hand side, Tunisia driving for it, but he's not going to get it. Looks like it was Karicu that got that one, and in fact another TVM rider's come up as well. Let's look back down there, and looks like Ronan Pansek, I think, for the Maya team, trying to get himself sorted. And one of the chaps has pulled his foot off the pedal as a click. I think it's might be Conti, who his foot came off the pedal, and he could be on a spare bike after his puncture. And look at the Panasonics welling up on the front. Abdul Japarov's wedged in the centre of this one. He's got to bore his way through it. See Etienne Deville going forward as well. A lot of these lads in here, just the glory of getting a reasonable place. Abdul Japarov, of course, unleashed his favourite sprint, and nobody can get his wheel. He's winding it round to finish, and he wished, I'm sure, that this was the one for first place, but he isn't. He's way back something around about 20, I suppose. Yellow jersey is safely home, because I saw him come across the line, and I'm sure that next to him will be Luc Leblanc, making sure that he didn't lose any time either. So it shouldn't make any real difference overall to the general classification. If you look back at the sprint from Konychev, actually holding on to the tops of the hooks of the brakes. He's not using the bottoms of the handlebars. That's an unusual way to sprint, but it's big enough and good enough for him to throw his bike forward. Konychev's second successive victory in the Tour de France in 2 years. He got one last year, he got one this year. So well done for Dmitry Konychev, silver medalist in the World Championships a couple of years ago.
Eurosport. The Tour de France. This program is brought to you by Eurosport in association with Isostar, the fast-acting isotonic thirst quencher.
Fascinating sprint finish here in the Tour. We're going to replay that, having had a look at the lake, this lovely watering hole where people are on holiday enjoying themselves. And here the sprint starting, and we couldn't see on the right-hand side, and I think they were somewhat surprised the way in which Chaudas began to creep up alongside the barriers, but it was not to be. Konychev out the saddle, holding on to the hooks of the brake levers rather than onto the handlebars itself, really going for it on the line and take it. And look at Pascal Richard. He certainly was not happy with that one. Konychev then up there for a victory. He won the 17th stage last year in the Tour de France, and he is winning this one today, the 19th stage from Morzine to Aix-les-Bains. No wonder he is smiling. That will certainly improve his point score, the FICP list, and help his team on to getting all the more points in the bag as well. Because everything is about earning money, getting points, and of course getting well paid for it. So there we are, Soviet Union winning a stage. They've already had Abdul Japarov picking up the stage victors as well. So there's our helicopter. This time it could go up into the sky. We did have that problem yesterday with the terrible weather conditions. We have this is the 19th time, by the way, been to this delightful spot here at Aix-les-Bains. And Greg LeMond it was that won here back in '89. Before that we had a big break because 1974 it was Eddie Merckx, and Cyril Guimard was the victor way back in 1972. As the green jersey, Abdul Japarov comes up for his career team to put on that green jersey, which he's virtually made his own now. He's had it right the way through since the third stage. The problem, of course, with Sean Kelly, with that viral infection they had, the bacteria in the stomach that caused them to go out. We thought Sean might have been in green at some point because he can climb a little bit better than Abdul Japarov, but it was not to be. Kelly was sidelined after the stage, after the time trial. Abdul Japarov, what a smiling character. And mind you, when you see him sprint, nobody else smiles. They get bumped all over the place. In the green jersey still, Le Mans had it for a couple of days. Thierry Marie took it after the prologue, of course, because he won everything that day. He got the yellow jersey and the green one, but the prologue sort of counts, but nevertheless the green jersey been Abdul Japarov's property ever since the third of the stage. And here's a man who took over the King of the Mountains jersey when we took the 13th stage. Unlucky for some, the Yakar to Valluran stage, but it was a good day for Kyopuchi. He took the spotted jersey of King of the Mountains, sponsored by Coca-Cola Light, and here he is putting on his umpteenth version of it. Smiling Carlo Kyopuchi on general classification this morning. It won't have changed. He was in third place, 4 minutes 48 seconds down. Of course, he finished second last year in the Tour de France. Look at that smile. There you go, a wide smile, hasn't he? Oops, he enjoys the kisses too. The winner of the Milan-San Remo, early part of this year, almost an unknown rider last year when he took over the yellow jersey, and it gave him confidence to ride above himself. And here we are, this beautiful lake with the riders going back to their hotels for their bath and their massage and their food and packing their bags yet again. And of course, by the time we get to Sunday, there'll be no more bag packing except the last time to go home and then off for the criteriums. There we are, confirmation of the results of the stage. That was that little six-man group that crept up or behind Pascal Richard and Dimitri Konychev. Couldn't catch him on the line. Well, tomorrow, the 20th stage of the race tomorrow. Just put in a picture as you're having a beautiful view of this marvellous lake here at Aix-les-Bains. We're going tomorrow from Aix-les-Bains to Macon, so it'll be from water in the lake to the red stuff in the bottle, and we'll be on the 20th stage covering 160 kilometres. So that won't take too long for the riders to get there. One or two undulations, a couple of climbs early on before the halfway point, 1/3 category climb over the Col du Marais, and then the Côte de Giraud at halfway point. Then we have another two towards the end, a second category climb over the Col de Berthiand, and then the final one after 93.5 kilometres, and that's a fourth category. So coming up to collect his yellow jersey, and as I said earlier on in the programme, that the down in Pamplona, where he comes from, there's already getting ready for the celebrations, and it won't be long for him either to keep packing his suitcases and getting ready to go back home to Pamplona, where they let the bulls loose. I think they'll get everybody loose when he gets back if he's still got that yellow jersey. He's riding so confidently because after tomorrow's stage, it's relatively flat except the undulations in the middle. I'm sure his team will keep it together, and that long run in towards the finish from the 93 kilometre point to the 181, the whole of the last half. Hello, so Credit Lyonnais is the emblem of the sponsor of the yellow jersey, which is a bank, and of course Banesto is a bank as well. Then after we've done the stage tomorrow on Friday, on Saturday we've got this time trial of 57 kilometres from Lugny to Macron, and that will sort out, I think, some of the minor placings, because usually the pack then thunders in on the Sunday to finish on the route from Melun to Paris, 178 kilometres, but again Eurosport will be covering right the way through, as we have been doing in the Tour this year. And it's just unfortunate yesterday, and I must apologise for the terrible conditions when we were unable to bring you all the action yesterday, but today we've seen yet again some cracking racing and another name on the list of stage victors this year in the Tour. It's been a very international Tour so far, apart from the Soviet Union's winning the stages, because Abdul-Japarov has won a couple, and we've just had Konychev win it as well. We've had a Brazilian win a stage the first time as well. We've had the RMOs win themselves 4 stages, the Aristiers 4 stages as well. Very interesting Tour. We hope you'll join us tomorrow. Myself, David Duffield, saying goodbye for the Tour de France. That's it.
Eurosport. The Tour de France.